Hey, it's your boy Chaz Burke coming to you with some little nuggets of information. I want to dedicate this video to one of my good buddies, Pat Pico. You know, he and I used to work together, and man, he's somebody that I consider a friend and someone that I consider a true champion of truth because he's always working and researching to get to the bottom of the truth no matter what, and who truly believes in democracy. So, my man Pat, this is for you. You know, we've been having this discussion lately. Give you some background. Last week I was out in my job. I go outside the countryside. I do different things, driving, and that's not important. But I was out in the country of northwestern Pennsylvania. So this is about racism and the not so foregone symbols of racism and the attitude of what it means to be racist. So I was driving down this country road up near Pyramid, Pennsylvania, very close to the New York border, Ohio area. You can't get much further north. And I should preface this by saying, in my whole entire life, at the age of 50, I've encountered quite a bit of racist moments with folks, different places, different times. So it is real, but I would like to say that almost every last one of them that I can think of right now has happened somewhere north of the Mason-Dixon line. And this area is southwestern Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh area. There's a lot of overt racism going on, and the fact of the matter is it'll continue to go on until people like my buddy Pat and you all that are watching this stand up, take notice, and take a stand. You know, that's how we change history and reflect the true contributions of everyday Americans from every level. And even the bad part of our history that people don't like to talk about, it is unfortunate. However, I'm not ashamed of it. I'm ashamed of the mindset that some folks have today where we'll sweep it under the rug and not talk about all the ramifications that have happened out of this American experiment and how it's affected different groups of people. So every other nationality is allowed to talk about their experience and have a sense of, I want to say, ownership of their experience and their past and their history, whereas we as African Americans are still struggling within ourselves, not only within ourselves, but in the country as a whole, to come to grips with a sense of belonging, a sense of pride, and a sense of purpose in history. And that all stems from our ancestors being absconded from Africa and brought here and continue to be subjugated to the dehumanization of themselves, their families, and just a total stripping away of history, and having that redone in a sense of history that reflects negatively upon us and our ancestors in America. And I'm here today to continue to keep shining a light on that because it is what's best and it's what I was meant to do. So with that, I was talking about, I posted something about these lawn jockeys. You know, you've probably seen them, these little black statues, okay? So there's a whole lot of research I've been doing, reading since I posted this. And first and foremost, you know, a lot of folks will say this, that, hey, those are really a testament to overcoming, you know, the African American struggle, and supposedly a testament as a tool in the Underground Railroad. But that's not exactly correct. And so what I am finding is, and here's the thing, supposedly this was from General Washington, who had this little 12-year-old black boy by the name of Jocko Graves, who is, for all accounts, is someone I find to be fictitious. No real historical accounts of it. Anywhere that I've found, and I've searched a few websites on a couple of different universities' pages, mainly going through Temple University, looking into their articles, and some even at Tuskegee Institute, and even a few of the smaller museums in the country, like the Blacks on Wax Museum in Baltimore and the Roadhouse Museum in Louisiana. So here's the thing about being black. My grandmother was 103 years old when she died in 1995. My parents are both in their 90s. And so our history is well documented within my family alone. And I know my grandmother used to sing songs about our history and talk about certain things. So chances are, in our community, you probably share the same experience about whatever your grandmother, grandfather talked to you about. It was something that they had firsthand knowledge of. So we know, and we've always known about what's going on and what has happened in our history. But back to the yard jockeys. So the story goes that George Washington was so moved by this that he created this monument to this statue, this little black boy standing center of the horses in some night. That's all fine and well. It sounds nice, but it is much. I find it to be more of a folk tale, a feel-good ending, if you will, and that's fine. People want to whitewash the history of slavery and racism in America, and that's not going to do it. Because when you do that, you take away from the real travesty of what happened with one of the first accounts of sustained human trafficking for over 400-something years. So it's not the first, but it is certainly one of the most well-documented and outwardly documented by a nation and accepted. So that's where we're at. But this story, I find it to be bogus because these little lawn jockeys, if this was a testament to somebody who was revered and honored, why not make that statue in his likeness, his or her likeness? And there's where we have the problem in America. We talk about all this old folklore and all these wonderful black folks that we want to celebrate, but most times more than not, the statues, the pictures, and everything else does not depict their true self. And they're more exaggerated in these little images of these little black Sambos, and it's perpetuation of ignorance and ugliness that was manifested in white folks' mind in America. And that's the simple truth of it. So today, I rebuke those statues and everything that goes along with the perpetuation of that image. It is not who I am. It is not who my ancestors are and were and my grandchildren will be. That is yet another attempt of taking someone's power away from them by putting up a narrative that is confusing and downright insulting. So as far as that goes, listen, I applaud my brothers and sisters that continue this fight of understanding and education and looking forward, and we're going to continue to do this together. But here's something I found very interesting about all that. Again, and why not celebrate somebody like Crispus Attucks? I hope I said his name right. Well documented, the first person shot and killed in the Revolutionary War, black man on the front lines. He served with the Patriots, the Revolutionary soldiers under George Washington. That's documented. People like him we ought to be celebrating. So, but in the course of my research, briefly, I found a story about the Kentucky Derby, and I love horse racing. I've been a big fan for a long time, but I did not know that the first 20 years or so, the Kentucky Derby winners were predominantly black riders, jockeys. And Oliver Lewis was the first winner of the very first Kentucky Derby, May 17th, 1875. And subsequently after that, there has been numerous black folks who have been riding, winning the Kentucky Derby up until this, up until Jim Crow South and after the Civil War, World War I rather. After World War I, things have changed. And like a lot of things in history, anything good was happening within the black community, white folks were jealous, assimilated, and decimated, and took it over. So just do some research on that. I want to talk about Oliver Lewis, again, first winner of the Kentucky Derby. And there's quite a few jockeys and trainers and stablemen who basically ran the show for the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness in Baltimore for years that I did not know about. And again, we took this subject about lawn jockeys, and it led me to research and read a little bit more to find about something else that was actually true. And that's the beauty of the internet. That's the beauty of research. That's the beauty of taking your time and having a discussion with folks who are dedicated, open-minded, and you are having this discussion about how we are and where we are today, and how do we go forward with this. So, again, I just wanted to throw that out there real quick. Pat, this is for you, buddy. I appreciate you, man. You do great and wonderful things, just being the good person that you are. I appreciate you, and everyone else. I wish you a great day today. Do something productive. Try to put more good energy into the universe than what you take out of it. That's what I try to do. Until next time, we'll talk to you later. Peace.